This portion of the John Fredericks Show is brought to you by Hargrave Military Academy. Attend an educational and informative open house event at Hargrave Military Academy in Chatham, Virginia. For more information, visit online at hargrave.edu. Hargrave Military Academy. Build his future.
Joining us now, my great friend, the congressman from the 6th District of Georgia, Republican, Dr. Tom Price. Congressman, it's always an honor to have you on, sir.
Oh, John, thanks so much, and appreciate you pushing the hands off my health care. My goodness, nothing could be more important at this point.
I mean, we're pretty fired up about it. Hey, I want you to tell your lovely wife, Betty, who, by the way, is a councilwoman in Roswell, Georgia, that I have quit smoking. I'm on my 6th day. She'll
Wonderful.
be
Congratulations.
so excited because every time I'd see her, the first thing she'd say is, when are you going to stop smoking, Fredericks? So tell her I'm on day 6. Soon as you see.
I'll do that. You know what Mark Twain said about quitting smoking?
What's that?
He said he didn't know what the whole fuss was. He'd done it 100 times.
That's probably, this is my 3rd try. But you know what they say, 3's a charm.
Exactly. Well, we hope this one's successful. God bless you.
We're gonna try that. And the other thing is I have to give congratulations to your Atlanta Braves. Who can stop them? Unbelievable.
I'd say something, boy, we're looking forward to it. We've been season ticket holders for a long, long time, and we're really looking forward to October, but we don't want to count our chickens too early. All
right. Now, we've got a lot to go over now, Congressman Price, and I really want to get to the legislation that you introduced, which is really fascinating. Keep the IRS off your Health Care Act. Can you outline to our audience exactly what this bill is and what your objective is with it?
Yeah, this is real simple stuff, John, and it makes sense to 85+% of the American people. I'm on the Ways and Means Committee, the Tax Writing Committee, so earlier this spring we had Stephen Miller, the acting commissioner of the IRS, in talking about targeting of conservative groups, sharing their donor lists with political opponents, and then targeting those donors for audits, and it just sent chills up and down my spine. And as I was sitting there, I thought, well, what else does the IRS do? And, of course, as you and your listeners know, they are charged with enforcing and implementing Obamacare. And so we introduced a bill, just a 2-page piece of legislation, H.R. 2009, and it just said the IRS may not either implement or enforce Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act. And that passed a couple weeks, in fact, 2 weeks ago today, we passed it in the House of Representatives. It's sitting on Harry Reid's desk, and we urge everybody to call Harry Reid and their United States senators and tell them to bring the bill up, pass it, and send it to the president.
Well, that's it. I mean, that would be the answer, because the constitutional legalization basis of Obamacare was that Supreme Court Justice John Roberts said it's a tax, right?
The tax. That's exactly right. And it's not that we don't need a revenue department for the United States government. We do, but this one's out of control and has no trust of the American people. And when you're talking about your money, it's one thing. That's extremely important. But when you're talking about your health, if it's the IRS that's going to be enforcing Obamacare, that's just a non-starter for the vast majority of the American people. So get the IRS out of your health care, and H.R. 2009 is the bill. Again, it sits on Harry Reid's desk. We urge the Senate to pass it.
Now, Congressman, one of the issues with this Obamacare is that whether you like it or not, ideologically, doesn't matter. They can't seem to implement it. They keep putting key pieces of it off because even those that authored it can't figure it out. So now we've got some people saying, it might be a good idea, but it's not executable. So what happens here?
Well, I think we're beginning to hear the voices on the other side, the left side of the aisle, to say, look, this isn't ready for prime time. Mm-hmm. Whether it's James Hoffa with the Teamsters Union, who sent a letter to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi saying, he didn't say just delay it, he said repeal it. He said, this isn't what you told us it was going to be. Therefore, you, in essence, lied to us. Now you need to repeal it, and let's do something smarter. To Senator Max Baucus, who's the chairman of the Democrat chairman of the Finance Committee in the Senate, one of the principal architects of the bill, said he looked at this and said it was going to be a train wreck. And so it's time to soberly step back and in a bipartisan way say, let's stop this nonsense right now. The administration has already delayed or waived over a third of the legislation. Let's delay the other 2/3 of the legislation and not have this become an albatross around the backs and the necks of the American people.
Congressman, is a new battle over a potential government shutdown on the table?
Well, I'm not wedded to a single tactic. I'm wedded to a goal, and the goal that I have is to make certain that the American people don't have to suffer under the law of Obamacare. And so, if we're able to defund it and end it with the continuing resolution that comes up likely prior to the end of September, or if it's able to be done on the debt ceiling, or if it's able to be done on another piece of legislation, or if it's able to be done as a freestanding bill, then look, I'm all in. But to tie oneself around the axle on a specific piece of legislation, that's strategic and tactical. That's not goal. That's not goal oriented. So I love the folks that are talking about making certain that it happens on the continuing resolution. And if we're able to do that, then yes. If there are other better avenues, then let's keep our options open. Let's play chess here, not checkers.
Congressman Price also sits on the Ways and Means Committee. If I can, I want to get to foreign policy for a minute. The new events in Egypt, very troubling to some. The other aspect with it is that there's some like me that feel that this administration makes too many overtures towards the Muslim Brotherhood and could potentially push our ally away into the hands of Vladimir Putin. What is your assessment of the Egyptian situation, sir, right now?
Well, I think the Egyptian situation is part and parcel of an entire mindset in the administration that, as the president articulated, is leading from behind. When America leads from behind, it doesn't lead at all. And when America doesn't lead, this is what the world looks like. It's more unstable. It's less safe. It's more likely to result in conflagration and expansion of battles. So this is what the world looks like when America refuses to lead. It's time for the administration to step up and lead. At this point, the last thing we need to be doing is supporting folks that are either unkind or unfriendly to us or anathema to our allies, read Israel. Israel's in a very dangerous neighborhood. There's no doubt about it, but it is imperative that the United States support Israel because it is the rock of peace and stability and principle of freedom and liberty within the Middle East.
So can you make any sense of John McCain and Lindsey Graham's visit to Egypt a week ago? Do you have any idea what their objective was?
I am often confounded by the actions of Senator McCain and Senator Graham. They have great knowledge and expertise, and goodness knows they've both of them, McCain in a remarkable way, served our nation nobly and with great sacrifice. But I do not believe that it is appropriate for us to be getting closer and closer to those folks who would do us greater harm, and so. But we're in a world of hurt in the Middle East because of a 4.5-year now history of America refusing to lead. What would have happened? Imagine what would have happened had this administration in 2009, when the Green Revolution occurred in Iran, if we would have helped and supported the Green Revolution, the folks in Iran who were pushing for a representative government and a more responsive government, a less dictatorial government. Instead, we sat back quietly and said, that's none of our business. Well, in fact, it was our business, and now we're suffering the consequences of inaction like that.
Boy, Congressman, you hit the nail on the head. I agree with you 100%. I don't even have a follow-up to that. It was so powerful. Hey, final question. We're almost out of time. I know, like me, you're a civil libertarian at heart. Are you comfortable with this degree of sweeping NSA surveillance?
No, absolutely not. But I think it's important to separate Eric Snowden from NSA and the challenge at NSA. Eric Snowden is a traitor. This is an individual who took secrets from the United States government, flew to China, and released those, and now is in bed with the Russians. This is a traitor to the United States government. That doesn't mean that what the NSA was doing was correct. I believe that what the NSA is doing is not what they told us they were going to do with information that they gathered and how they were going to gather it. There is a solution that is to allow that is to provide for the communications companies, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, all of those companies, to store that data And if and when a FISA court says that a number needs to be looked into and see what communication that number had with anybody else, then that would be the appropriate way to do it, to have the federal government storing every single communication that you and I and your listeners and every single American make is not an appropriate use of government authority.
You know, Congressman, I remember you and I was interviewing you over your voting for the Patriot Act. This is all the way back in, 2001. And I remember we were talking about Section 215. Has it played out the way you originally envisioned it?
Actually, I wasn't in Congress in 2001, but I was there for the 2005 reauthorization,
That's right,
and I opposed it precisely for this reason. When it came up again in 2007, 8, I supported it because we put sunsets in place. That was what we were pushing for at that time. But at that time, the individuals who were testifying about what this law would do, Section 215 would do, said that they would not collect all of this information, and even if they could, they wouldn't do it. We need this information. The world's a very dangerous place. There's no doubt about it. There are a lot of bad guys out there, but there's a way to do it that still protects our Article 4 protection under the Constitution.
Okay, Congressman Tom Price. We're out of time. We want to thank you for joining us today. If you want more information, just go to tomprice.house.gov, tomprice.house.gov. Congressman, always a pleasure to have you on, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, John. Take care.